Musket fire was in the air for the 250th anniversary of the Battle of Bunker Hill.
250 years ago, the men of Massachusetts, Connecticut, and New Hampshire came together in defense of a small hill in Charlestown. They had no idea what that was going to lead to. 250 years now, we have the hindsight of understanding just how important the events of this day are, and we're delighted to be able to give the public a sense, both generally and specifically, about the people, the men, the women who were all affected by this day.
There's been a debate, is it Breeds Hill, is it Bunker Hill, and yet here we're in Gloucester.
We are in Gloucester today. You know, any historian worth their salt would want to do it on the actual place, on the actual day, because time and place do matter in these commemorations. But at the end of the day, when you're talking about holding the kind of commemoration we're doing here today, over 1,000 reenactors, we've got thousands of the general public, and Charlestown of 2025 is just not built for that kind of commemoration. And so we began quite a few years ago looking around at sites that were potential places to host a grand scale reenactment.
There were dignitaries in attendance, including Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll and a former First Lady.
And I have correspondence throughout the colony, and my good friends, the Warrens in Plymouth. In 1775, in a time when the lands of Massachusetts are clear-cut for farmland, and there's certainly much less of Boston built up around the town. Well, you can see straight across the harbor from Quincy, Braintree, as it is in 1775, and I can see the pillar of smoke coming from Charlestown as the British march into the town, set buildings afire. All of this witnessing, knowing there is a great battle happening and going on, but we know so little about the details of it. We can watch Charlestown being destroyed from across the harbor, but it's not going to be hours or days until we learn what is actually happening and going on there. In the meantime, my husband, John, has been away for weeks at the Second Continental Congress in Philadelphia. He's doing very great work in order to bring other colonies to our defense, our aid, perhaps some more soldiers for the provincial army, perhaps a union of the colonies, or we might even view them as individual states coming together and joining for a common purpose, aside from England, apart from England. Don't let them know I said that. It's a fairly treasonous thought, especially at this time. But I think you can't start a war and then go back and say, never mind, we undo it.
The reenactment featured militiamen and British soldiers.
These rascals have set up an emplacement on a peninsula named Charlestown. And we had a plan to invade the Dorchester Heights, but in fact we're going to flip the plan and grab them unawares, land behind them. This has been a long time coming. This slow descent into rebellion with these irritant. These colonials are very irritating, I must say. Every single one of them is a lawyer, and now every one of them is a soldier. It's rather incredible.
The British have taxed us heavily. They've ignored all of our pleas, and we finally had enough. So at this point, it was them. They fired the first shots at Lexington and Concord. We're responding to that one, and now we're done with the British rule and with the regulars turning out and trying to tell us what to do.
And others who supported the war effort.
We are going to be supporting the gentlemen, the men-at-arms, make sure they're fed, they're hydrated, and take care of the camp.
Yeah.
We'd also follow our troops onto the field to make sure they were hydrated on the field as well. That our role is more of a support. Make sure I actually have to mend some of his clothes this afternoon so that he has a shirt for tomorrow. Those are the type of things that we would be doing. We've got to cook our meal for tonight. We're going to be cooking a turkey, some potatoes, and something very hearty so they will have a good rest.
Now, one thing you said you would go out onto the actual field of battle to tend to them, so these women were actually putting themselves very much in harm's way.
Absolutely. That was our role, to support our men.
What role did the South Shore play?
250 years ago, there weren't really any South Shore guys at the Battle of Bunker Hill. They were all in Roxbury with General John Thomas from Kingston. But in this day and age, the reenactors come from all over. We've got reenactors from California. We've got reenactors from the Carolinas. And yes, we do have some reenactors from the South Shore of Massachusetts.
Well, I've always loved the American Revolution. It's been my passion since I was about 8 years old, learning about it with like Johnny Tremaine and everything. And I became a reenactor about 8 years ago. And this has been one of the events that I've always been interested in.
The Battle of Bunker Hill has come to a close as British troops have retaken the hill from the American colonial forces. To learn more about this and other events, go to revolution250.org. Reporting from the Battle of Bunker Hill in Gloucester, Dan McCready, WATD News. Huzzah!